quickly, giving you a quick introduction of myself. I'm Amrish Raje. I've worked with Infosys. I'm a principal tech art with Infosys. Have been here for 20 years, and I primarily, specialize in application modernization, legacy modernization kind of projects. Right now, I'm leading a major transformation project for a leading client where we are implementing Couchbase, mobile sync between handheld devices and the server. And that's quite a large project for the retail client where they're replacing all their legacy devices with based solution. Quite a few learnings from that project, quite a few features that we're using out of the box that Couchbase provides, and I kind of wanted to walk through some of the things that we got me excited about, and then we have a very strong relationship with Couchbase, a good partnership. As developers, we kind of want features, right, that we see missing in the product or lacking, and then we reach out to Couchbase, say, hey, this is something that would be really super important for us, or helpful for us or something. And we have seen Couchbase implement those features over a period of time, giving us more abilities to do what we want to do. So that's what I'm going to kind of talk you through, the evolution of Couchbase mobile, if you will, over the years that I have worked with it. Some of the key features that I have seen, that have really helped us with our implementation of Couchbase and Sync. So again, this is not really going to be a presentation. I'm just going to try and talk through points here, but I'm just kind of showing you a list of things that I'm going to talk about. The first thing that I want to sort of talk about is when I started working with Couchbase mobile, that was way back on version 2.1 or something. We didn't have something called Delta Sync, but then with version 2.5, Couchbase introduced Delta Sync. Priya sort of briefly touched upon Delta Sync, but then having Delta Sync was really, really useful for us. Now, in our retail client, we move megabytes of data between the server and each device, and we have like 25-30,000 devices. So bandwidth for us is very, very important. And generally speaking, let's say I'm moving information about a customer, right? So the customer core table, if you will, or customer core information, if you will, is in a JSON document. It's not like the whole document is changing every day, right? What changes within the document is, say, the customer's phone number changed or an address change or something. We're talking about a field that changes, a few KB of data that changes versus the whole document. And with Delta Sync, what Couchbase does is it looks at the previous revision of the document, sees, hey, only this field in the document changed, and I'm able to sync only that specific field over the wire. Saves a ton of bandwidth from a performance standpoint. Obviously, you're not syncing the whole document. It's pretty fast. Works like a charm. It's something that has really helped us bring our bandwidth utilization down. Makes a lot of sense for us. Cache management, right? As a large enterprise customer, we have multiple sync gateways running. We don't want to keep scaling these sync gateways up, right? We want to make the most out of what we have in terms of hardware resources as well. Having the ability to manage how sync gateway caches some of this information. This is something that has been very helpful for us. Again, it was introduced around 2.6 version. We are actively using this in production. Makes a lot of sense for us. The other thing that I want to talk about, OIDC. So sync gateway, Priya talked about this briefly. It supports OIDC, right? So we use Okta in our case to manage all the users and credentials. And sync gateway fully supports that, right? One of the things that we're lacking is within our own implementation, we just did not have a way to specify certain properties like user claims, right? And that was sort of holding us back from fully utilizing OIDC, and we had to use, basic auth, if you will. We worked with Couchbase. Priya was able to help us get that feature added to Couchbase, Sync Gateway, right? And then we have this implemented in production now, where we are using OIDC, Okta tokens to exchange data. No basic auth, no session token management, nothing, right? Just a seamless user experience. User logs in, uses Okta to get their token, login. The same token is used just for syncing as well. There's nothing else that we need. So this is something that has helped us a lot. There was a metric REST API that was introduced recently, where you can get Prometheus-based data metrics from Sync Gateway. Again, this was something that we were waiting on. It was something that we wanted to be able to monitor the health of our Sync Gateways. And we extensively used Prometheus. So what we had to do previously was, have some custom scripts to get data from Couchbase using the older metric endpoint and feed it to Prometheus and do some transformations. But with what they've done with the REST APIs, where you can get data in a Prometheus format, it just is seamless now to integrate Sync Gateway with our monitoring dashboards. So that has helped us a lot. Sync Gateway or Inter-Sync Gateway replication, that's another new feature that they introduced. So while with the 2.x versions of Couchbase, the communication between the Sync Gateways and the mobile clients shifted to using Websockets, which was pretty fast to sync the data. The Sync Gateway, the replication between multiple Sync Gateways. So for example, you have 2 data centers between which you need to sync data. That was still using the older HTTP-based technology and wasn't that fast, if you will, to exchange data. So with the Inter-Sync Gateway replication now, even the Sync Gateway replication uses the same WebSocket-based protocol that the mobile devices use, so that it's pretty fast now. It's not something that we have implemented in production yet, because it's relatively new. We're kind of doing POCs, we're experimenting with it, but I think we are at a stage where we want to go live with this kind of a change for us. So again, it's something that we were looking forward to, and something that we recently got from Couchbase. So this is all in terms of the older versions of Couchbase, the journey over the last couple of years. What Couchbase has also just recently done is introduced a 3.0 release, and given that it's a .0 release, it's got a bunch of new features that got me really, really excited. We are looking at embracing some of these features as soon as possible, because they open up so many possibilities for us. Till date, all the configuration that we had in Sync Gateway was in a config file, if you will, that was residing on the virtual machine where Sync Gateway was running. And then if you have multiple Sync Gateways in production, each Sync Gateway was kind of its own thing, and you had to sort of make sure that every Sync Gateway has the right configuration. None of that happens anymore with the modular configuration that was introduced in 3.0. You sort of set up one Sync Gateway, and then you have the ability to hit REST endpoints, change your configuration through those REST endpoints, and then the other Sync Gateways in that cluster, if you will, just catch up with the modular configuration that you have provided with one Sync Gateway. So this is something by itself that got me so excited that I wanted to move to Sync Gateway 3.0 as soon as possible. Again, given that we are a large enterprise, it's not something that we can do overnight. We have to do our own testing and research and just make sure that everything works for us. But we're super excited to start down this path to see what modular configuration has to offer to us, and move to 3.0 as soon as possible. Another thing, secure administration for the Sync Gateway APIs. So till date, what we had to do was come up with our own method to call some of these admin APIs that Sync Gateway introduced, right? So what happens is in the previous versions of Sync Gateway, if you wanted to call an admin API, you could do it from within the virtual machine or within the machine where Sync Gateway was running. And the admin endpoints were not exposed outside of that machine. All of that changes with secure administration. You no longer need to use any reverse proxy or SSH tunneling or anything of that sort to get to your admin APIs. You just have a username, password. You expose it over outside of the machine where Sync Gateway is running, and you can call those endpoints. And for us, calling an admin endpoint like the user endpoint to register a new user, assign them channels, it was super important. And we kind of had a hack to make it work. And I think with the secure administration, it's going to make a lot of sense for us. X-address for channel access control. Now, this is something that I've been asking Priya for a long time. Got introduced in 3.0. It's something that's got me super excited, right? So I want to talk about this a little more and tell you why this makes a lot of sense. So till now, most your channel assignment logic, it could look at a field within a document and then say, hey, based on this property, I'm going to go assign a channel, right? But what that meant is we had to embed the channel specific or the routing logic within the document itself. And if you think about it from a business standpoint, these are things that generally don't belong there, right? Or may not belong there. So for example, if I'm talking about a customer document, why do I need information related to, which user should have access to that customer in the customer document itself? It's got to reside somewhere outside. So with the X-address for channel access control, that's what Sync Gateway, offers us now. All of this information can be embedded in the X-address or the metadata within Couchbase, within the document, right, on the Couchbase server. And then the Sync Gateway is able to access that information and do channel access control. It's a big deal for us. Again, there were certain document types for us where the literal size of the document was smaller than the list of channels where the document needed to be synced. So imagine a scenario where you have a pretty small document, like 10 lines JSON properties within the document, but it needs to be distributed to 20,000 users, right? And for whatever reason, right, we kind of had to embed each and every user's channel in there. So the list of channel was larger than the document itself, much larger. And the worst part was, anytime you had to change a user or make that document not go to a user or something, any changes related to channels, right? The document was mutated, which means every single user that has access to that document, 20,000 of those guys, see a change to that document, which was totally unnecessary. It was just a lot of noise. So with this feature, all of that is going to get fixed. Super excited about this new feature. Then there's another one coming along in 3.0, which is purge or document purge on access revocation. So till now, and again, in our enterprise, we have requirements where if a user loses access to a channel, that document has to be deleted from the database, from the CB Lite database. And we had to write our custom purge rules for this. With 3.0 again, the user loses access to a channel, Couchbase internally takes care of getting rid of that document from the database. It allows me to get rid of all this custom, cleaners that we had to write on the mobile side, right? So again, super excited about this new feature and looking forward to it. So the gist of all that I'm trying to say here is, over the last few years that I've been using Couchbase, I have seen a huge, a lot of changes being introduced to the product. And all of these changes are sort of helping us developers and architects implement newer use cases and do things in a more efficient way, if you will, within both the mobile side as well as the server side. So super excited to see what's coming next. I know there was a question about scopes and collections support for Sync Gateway. It's been something that even I have been asking for. So looking forward to when Priya and team can get that out for us. So with that, I'm going to pause. That's all I have for you today.